Did you know the thing that's damaging your hair the most is probably completely different than you would ever imagine? From 26 years behind the chair at a salon, I hear constantly, I would never color my hair because it's way too damaging. Or I would never use a flat iron or a curling iron because, well, they destroy hair. But there's something that you likely use every day that is absolutely destroying your hair. And there's a reason why over the past few decades it has become far more damaging, far more dangerous, and I'm gonna explain exactly why that is. More importantly, I'm gonna explain how you can use this tool effectively and efficiently so you don't make all the common mistakes that happen, so you don't destroy your hair. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to tell you why this blow dryer right here might be a really solid option for you. And no, it's not the one that you probably think it is. This is the Layfin. And I'm gonna share why I like it, and more importantly, why I think it could be the answer to you getting healthier hair. Sound fair? All right, let's dive in. Now, if you're new to me, my name is Justin Hickox. I've, like I said, been doing hair for 26 years, and I prefer to take you on adventures while I teach you about hair, which is why I'm sitting in front of the Joshua Tree National Park area and not in a salon. Kind of a cooler view, I'm not gonna lie. But nonetheless, same information, just different backdrops. So I do have to say that today's video is sponsored by Layfin, and I appreciate them for sending me out this blow dryer to test and try. I will tell you this, before I ever even consider doing a collaboration or any sort of sponsorship on this channel, I make absolutely sure that I 100% stand behind the products that I talk about. And I do stand behind this. This is a solid dryer, and it might be the right dryer for you. So I'm gonna break down exactly why I love this. I've been using it for a little while now, and why I think you might love it, and more importantly, how it could save your hair from some serious damage. And then we'll talk about the actual step-by-steps on blow drying somebody and how you can use any blow dryer, this one included, to make sure that you're not making the fatal mistakes that people are making that are destroying their hair. Okay, the way this is gonna work is I'm first gonna break down the dryer that I got and the different attachments that come with it and some different things I personally like about it. Then we're gonna talk about the obvious comparison. I need to just kind of throw a nod to the Dyson dryer and kind of share some differences between the two to help you kind of maybe make the decision on which would be right for you. And then I also wanna obviously tell you how and show you how you use your blow dryer and specific attachments to make sure that you're not damaging your hair and actually getting an efficient dry that gives you more shine, less damage, and it usually ends up being a little bit quicker. So let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, they sent me the Layfin Swift Special. So it comes with all the attachments and all that great stuff, and it's a great dryer. I mean, first of all, one of the things I love about them, as corny as this is that they come in different colors. I like the fact that there's red one, white one, silver one, black one. I mean, to me, I don't know, call me corny, but I like the options. But aside from that, there are a few different attachments that came with it as well. So you get the obvious blow dryer here. Then you get a few different air diffusers or air modifiers. So this is a standard diffuser. This is what you're gonna use for curly hair. All this is gonna do is modify the air that comes out of the dryer so that it spans it over a larger area. What that means is that it's less distribution of air to one specific point, yielding less frizz if you have curl. So anytime I'm drying curly hair, there's always one of these attached to the dryer, no questions asked. For me, this is a huge part of keeping the frizz down and getting a nice individualized curl. Now this modifier is more for drying hair, so this is what I usually start with. This gives it a little bit more airflow, but it's also going to help still be more precise with where that air is going. And when we break down at the very end and I explain why this is important, you'll understand, but these are important attachments. And then it also came with this other modifier that is just a little bit more of a concentrated modifier. So this is gonna be a little bit more for what we would do round brush work with. And I'll show you exactly how you use this and why this is actually a very important part of this whole system. So those are the three things that came with the dryer. But let me explain a few of the things that I like about it and why I think it might be a really good fit for you. Okay, to understand why this dryer is solid, you have to first understand kind of the history of dryers. I started doing hair in 1995, it's quite a while ago. And back then, what made a dryer a better dryer, or what separated dryers one from the next, was the amount of airflow that they could push. But the problem was those motors limited those dryers to about 20 to 40,000 rounds per minute. So what ended up happening after that is over the next couple of decades, they progressively got warmer and warmer and warmer and warmer because they couldn't up the speed. The only way they could get drier faster or throw something different into the mix was just to get hotter. The problem is most folks like yourself, or if you're not a stylist, You were never taught how to effectively use a blow dryer so that you didn't damage your hair. And so what this did was just open people up to extreme damage without them realizing it. Laven has actually created a motor that can see up to 110,000 rounds per minute. Now that is ridiculously fast. It actually throws this air out of that nozzle at a rate of about 22 meters per second. So if you're in the US, that's roughly 60 some feet per second. That's fast. It is coming out of there at a click. Now the great part about this is by utilizing more airflow, you're using a little bit less heat and still getting an incredibly fast and efficient result. Now, there's a little bit more technology obviously that goes into this. And part of that technology is that it's actually monitoring the heat at 100 times per second. This is important because it's making sure that it's not overheating your hair. Now, there are some other aspects of this, and I feel like this is where I really kind of need to throw the knot out and kind of bury the elephant in the room, if you will, and kind of compare it a little bit to Dyson, because I know that's what everybody's going to do. So kind of the question becomes, all right, this has some great technology, so why is it different than Dyson? Why don't I just get the Dyson? Well, first of all, let's just kind of start with this. This is a tiny bit smaller than the Dyson, but if I'm completely honest, I don't think it's so much smaller that it's really going to be the game changer on whether you get one over the other. It's also a little bit quieter. So the Dyson comes in at 62.6 dB, whereas this comes in at 59 dB. Now, on paper, there's a difference there, but more importantly, I kind of don't even care about the dBs. I'm more interested in just how it actually sounds. And I did notice that it is quieter. Now, if you don't know me, I have been using the Dyson blow dryer for over a couple of years now. And I will tell you that this does not have the same noise pitch as that. This isn't quite as high pitch, if you will, and it just overall actually sounds quieter. Now, it may or may not make a difference to you, but to me, it actually makes a difference. Now, there is also something that I loved about the Dyson, which was the magnetized clips. And just like them, Laven has done the same thing. They've brought the same kind of connector to this dryer, which to me, that is a huge deal because I cannot stand the traditional blow dryers and their plastic attachments that just clip on, they melt off. It's absolutely obnoxious. They break. I can't deal with it. And this is a small thing that's not a small thing. This is also a little bit faster than the Dyson blow dryer, which means it's pushing out a bit more air than the Dyson blow dryer. I did notice that this got hair dry quite quickly. Now, I did hear somebody complain that there isn't a specified cold button, right? That you just hit that cold button, let it go, and there it is. But there is a cold button. It's just not separated from the heat buttons, which I don't find as being an issue at all. It's this button right here, and when you hit that button once, you'll see the rings light up in the back, and those rings dictate the different temperatures. Now, cold is just room temperature, air blown through the blow dryer. Medium temperature is 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and hot is 176 degrees Fahrenheit. I also love these filter systems. I love having a filter at the bottom of the blow dryer versus the traditional being in the back of the blow dryer. And I mainly like that because if you're drying long hair or something, sometimes that long hair can actually suck up into the motor or press against the motor and overheat the entire system, whereas these don't have a tendency to do that. This is also very easy to clean. So to me, that's a huge win when you're using this often. But let me break down the kind of important part about this video, which is how to use a dryer efficiently, utilizing the different attachments so that you don't destroy your hair, because there is a method. So let's talk about it. There is just kind of a simple method that I follow when I'm blow drying somebody's hair. So first things first, I like to get the product that I'm going to be using in my client's hair. So I apply the product when the hair is damp, start working it through. Now from there, I like to use this modifier right here. Now, the reason I like to use this one is because it's got a larger airflow area, so it's allowing more air out, but it's still concentrating where I actually distribute that air far more than if I were not using it. So as you can see, I prefer to have the client tilt forward because this is going to help maximize volume. But if you notice, regardless if you're tilting their hair forward or tilting it up, I still direct air down the hair shaft. I do not direct the air at the hair shaft or up the hair shaft. it is always down. And the reason for this is because it's not only helping to dry your hair, but it's also helping to smooth the cuticle down. And more importantly, it's distributing the heat in a way that isn't nearly as aggressive and therefore not as damaging to your hair. Now, once we have the hair mostly dry, that's when I actually like to switch. So I'll remove this modifier and I'll move over to this a little bit more concentrated modifier. Now, what this is gonna do is allow me to really concentrate that airflow exactly where I want it to as I'm using the round brush. Now, as you'll see here, it's important that you point that nozzle down the hair again, just like we did before, definitely not at the round brush, and definitely not up the round brush. If you point this up the round brush, what you'll find is you're gonna get far more frizz and far more kind of flyaway hair, and it's not gonna smooth your hair out well at all. If you point it at the round brush, this is when you're gonna find the most amount of damage. So once we move that nozzle down and start directing that airflow down the hair shaft, now we're finding ourselves in a position where we're actually smoothing the hair out, we're getting some nice bend, and we're also getting a nice polish. So we're getting a little bit of shine here. So if I'm trying to create a little bit of volume in an area, I prefer to get the hair hot, warm it up with the round brush, then lift it up off the scalp and actually hit the cold button and utilize the cold shot at the roots to really lock that bend into place. When you're trying to create volume, you're trying to get hair to have a bend. And so if we create that bend by utilizing a little bit of heat and then lock it in with that cold shot, we're gonna get a lot more volume and overall shape in the hair. If you follow those very simple steps, you're gonna find that your hair is far less damaged regardless of what blow dryer you're using. But if you go a step farther and utilize a dryer like this that is using a better form of airflow with less heat, you're gonna find that this is gonna happen more efficiently, you're gonna find less damage, and you're gonna get a nice amount of shine out of it. So yes, that is a simple way to steer away from over damaging your hair, and a fantastic blow dryer, legitimately. If you want to find out more about Leifin or this blow dryer, there is a link in the description below. Go ahead and click on that link and yeah, check one out because they are very solid. I think you'll love it. All right, well, I thank you for hanging out. I hope you learned a little bit about how to address hair damage so that you don't get more of it and instead you dry your hair without the damage. And yeah, all the things. Okay, well, ooh, that is looking like a storm behind me. Am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. Oh, we're gonna see some lightning today, folks. All right, you have a fantastic day. Click the link below, and we will see you in the next video. Take care now. Bye. Ooh. And we're gonna get that button. That is going to be a storm.